Hello everyone, welcome to episode 31 of Salapaloosa Knits. My name is Elizabeth and I am the crafter and creator behind this channel. I am coming to you from the western part of Norway where I live with my husband Christian, and I am, as usual, functioning on a rather high level of caffeine. That's just how I roll. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I am Salapaloosa Knits. That is where I am most active, and I post daily updates as to what I am knitting and crafting on at the moment. If you have any questions or inquiries in regards to the podcast, feel free to pop in a comment below the video, or if you have any other types of questions or inquiries, please feel free to pop me an email at salapaloosanknits@gmail.com. Now, for those of you who watched my previous episode 30, you will know that I have a giveaway going where you can win some lovely stitch markers by Stressa. So if you haven't participated yet, do pop on over to the previous episode and post a comment below the video writing your favorite cozy thing about fall, and I will select 2 winners from that thread next week. Okay, first of all, what I'm wearing, you guys, I'm wearing my dress. Yay! It's finished. I actually finished it the day that I recorded last week's episode. I finished the sleeves, and if you haven't seen the previous episode yet, I had some issues figuring out what to do with the pom-poms because I wanted them to be really full and lush and beautiful, but I was afraid of running out of yarn. So what I did was I weighed the pom-poms that I already weighed, and I weighed the remaining yarn, and I figured out how large they would have to be because I had a clear idea that I needed 10 pom-poms to just fill out the bottom of the dress the way that I wanted, and so I figured out that I needed to make 9.5 gram pom-poms to get them the way that I wanted them, and I had just enough yarn to do that, so everything turned out beautifully. And yeah, okay, I think I'm going to have to climb onto the chair. Well, here you can see just the torso, I guess. It's just all stockinette, I've knit this dress out of Pickles pure wool, which is 100% wool yarn, and the colour is called plum. Okay, are you ready for this? Ooh, I hope I'm not flashing anything. Anyways, here are the Poms. Aren't they gorgeous? I mean, I am head over heels in love with these. I cannot even tell you. And I think that they are just going to be, or this dress is just going to be so fun to wear throughout the fall and for Christmas as well. The Poms are quite festive, aren't they? They're like jingle Poms. Jingle Poms, there we go. Christmas dress ready. Yeah, I think I will wear this tons, and I worn it this weekend, and it was, yeah, great. I love it. It's quite warm and woolly. I feel like I'm just repeating everything I said last week, but this dress has been available for quite a long time. It's a pattern by Pickles, but it has only been available in quite a thick, very thick woolly version, and I thought that would be just way too hot and create a garment that I wouldn't really wear all that much. So when they came out with the thin version, that's just one strand of the wool yarn, then I knew that I had to jump on it, and I knit this entire thing in 2.75 millimeter needles, which is, sorry, I can't remember what that is in US size, but it is quite small needles, and so the fabric is just the way I wanted it. It took for quite a while, but I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with it. Okay. Yes, let's just jump into it and start. Let's start with the project that I've been working on most prolifically the last week, which is my Flowing Foxtails shawl by Stephen West. This project lives in my Plystre project bag, which is a quite large bag, and I can fit a large project in it, which is great because guess what? The shawl is actually growing. Who knew? I had this idea that it's a brioche shawl, for those of you who don't know. It's a brioche shawl with pattern in it, and I had this idea that perhaps it would take a really long time to knit up, and just maybe that the progress wouldn't be as visible as I'd like, because you know there's quite a bit of knitting in brioche that is just going back and forwards, and you don't necessarily see all the progress. But let me show you where I'm at. It's actually starting to look like a shawl. Now there is quite a bit left. There's definitely quite a bit left. Here's the back. But I made quite a progress on it, and I'm really excited about it. And I keep putting it like around my neck just to like feel the yarn against the skin, and also just this keeps me really motivated because I do love the way it is knitting up, and I adore this gold yellow. The yarn that I'm using is let me just pull up the skein for you. This gold mustardy yarn is Skrantin merino is the base. It's by Garnsurr, and the colour is called Jase, and the blue yarn I'm using is Knitting for Olive. I'm using 2 strands held together of the Knitting for Olive silk mohair. Yeah, silk mohair. And the colour, I think it's called, ooh, I'm having a bit of a brain freeze, but I think it's called Midnight Blue or something like that. I will put it in the show notes, which can be found in the description part of the video. Okay, so the pattern is by Stephen West, and yeah, it's really coming along. I feel like I'm just in the brioche zone at the moment, and I can just keep going and not necessarily pay, well, it definitely needs quite a bit of attention, but I can sort of relax a tiny bit more than I did a week ago. I'm also just having a little scan over every time I finished a row, just to make sure that there's no sort of any kind of mistakes or anything visible, that because the yarn is quite high in contrast, any mistakes will show up really clearly, and we don't want that. And the blue is the silk mohair, which is so incredibly soft, so wrapping it around like this, yeah, it feels really nice, and I cannot wait to wear it. And I don't think I'm halfway there. It's not a huge shawl, it's not, but The thing is, I'm repeating a section at the moment that I'm supposed to repeat 2 more times, and then I've done it I think 3 times by now. I need to do it 2 more times, and then there's another portion that I need to do 1 more time, and then it's finished. It's just the bind off left. But there's quite a few increases in the next portion, so the next part is going to be quite a bit larger than this part. So I'm probably not halfway there, but you know, getting there. Maybe I've done at least a third, I think, maybe even a little bit more than that. And another thing that I'm really enjoying is how lightweight this actually feels. It feels so light around just next to the skin, and I mean, it's not finished yet, but it still feels quite comfortable to work with. Yeah, which is great. I'm using the Knit Pro Carbons interchangeable needles. I've changed the cable quite a few times because it just never seemed to be long enough, and I'm a little bit worried that especially with the dark blue yarn and the brioche, that if the stitches are too cramped together like this, it's just a lot easier to make a mistake, and because there's just so much yarn on the needles with the brioche stitches. So yeah, slightly worried about that, so I keep changing the cables for longer cable, but I think that I have the longest cable that I can get right now without having to splice some of them together, and I don't want to do that if I can help it, because it does seem to create a bit of a what's it called? Something, at least some kind of thing that the yarn can snag onto, and you know, we don't want that. So anyways, coming along. I can't wait to you know what, every time I pick this up I want to knit on it, because I think that it's so enjoyable, and just the rhythm of brioche, oh, I love it, absolutely love it. So there we go. That is the project that I've definitely been working on the most for the last week. And the second project that I'm going to talk to you about is actually a new cast on, because last week I went to the knitting festival in Bergen Strikkefestival, and I do enjoy having casting on a new project for, you know, like a fun occasion. I cast on a pair of socks on the morning of my wedding day. I like to cast on, it usually is socks, because it's very, you know, fun and portable and easy to take with you. So I decided that for the festival I wanted to do the same thing, and sorry, Melody Hoffman of Bmanderines, she just released a pattern called Into the Woods, and I really loved the pattern. I thought that, okay, I need to make this pretty much the moment I saw it, and this seemed like a perfect opportunity to cast them on. And also 20% of the proceeds from the pattern sales actually will go towards the Rainforest Alliance, so that is also a pretty good reason to pick up a copy of the pattern. Okay. First of all, the project is living in this tiny little sock sack, or this tiny little project bag. It is a Harry Potter themed project bag that I picked up at the festival this weekend. It's not really obvious if you're not reading it, but it has, just on the fabric there are just tons of these Harry Potter, so it's like Gringotts banking system on the verge of collapse, and Death Eater numbers grow, dark times ahead. Yeah, it's just really, it's fun. It's, yeah, it had to come on with me. This was by a company called Spöte, and I will put it in the show notes. Okay, so this is a very small bag, but it actually does fit a sock project. Now, first of all, let me show you the yarn that I'm using, because it is just lovely and deserves to get some attention on its own. This is the Mocca sock set by Dusty Dimple, and these colours are just, oh, they are so beautiful. And when I started to look through my yarn stash to figure out which yarn I wanted to knit the Into the Forest socks with, this just popped out against me. I knew that these had to be the ones. So I'm using the hot pink one. I'm using this for the cuffs and the toes. I decided to just keep the heels in the pattern. No, sorry, in the main colour. And this is the main colour that I'm using for the sock, and or the yeah, the rest of the sock, apart from the toe and the cuff. Alright, so this was the only thing I knit on Friday and on Saturday at the festival, and somehow I finished one of the socks. That I'm quite impressed, actually. I did not think that I would get that, but somehow I did. So I got one sock ready, and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. I think that this yarn just works so well with the pattern. I have tweaked this a little bit in a couple of ways. First of all, the stitch count for the smallest size is quite high, and I don't have very large feet. It also calls for a larger size needle than I normally use for sock knitting. So that combination made me think that, okay, I should probably try and tweak something here, because otherwise they will probably be a little bit too big for me. And I thought that maybe it was due to the nature of the pattern, that it might be quite tight, and that was the reason for it, but it really isn't. It's not really tight at all, it's just, it acts really normally. So what I did was I went down a few needle sizes, actually. I think the recommended needle size was 2.5, and I've knit these on a 2mm needle. Another reason for that was I have been testing a new sort of needle that was sent to me by Nico to try out. Seem to have dropped a needle on the floor. Alright, well, these are the needles anyways, just I figured that I actually, well, I have a bit of a loose gauge to begin with if I don't pay attention to it, but you know, I usually do pay attention to it, so it's all good. But I do find myself having to go down at least the needle size usually in a lot of patterns to get the right gauge. But I also found out that with these needles my gauge is slightly even slightly looser than usual, and that's probably just because I need to get used to them. It's quite a different way of knitting. I will get back to the needles in a later episode once I've just really tried them out properly. But because of those things, I decided that, okay, I will use a 2mm needle instead of a 2.5. That seemed to, that gave me a slightly tighter gauge than the pattern called for, but I thought that that might make the fit a little bit better for me. And I do like a tight gauge on socks. Yeah, okay, so that was one of the tweaks that I did. I did use the correct number of stitches that the pattern called for. But another thing that I did was a bit of a whoopsie daisy. After, if I didn't, hopefully you can see that between these little ferns, or what they are, I don't know, these little pattern ferns, I'm just going to call them that. There was some stockinette, but when I picked these up on Saturday evening, I just kept going, and I somehow managed to drop the stockinette all together and just knit all the ferns really closely together. And I discovered it actually when I'd only done, or on the first fern that I'd done the mistake on. So I stopped for a minute and figured it's very easy to tink this back and make it right according to the pattern. But if I keep them all together, first of all, I do like the way that it looks, that it's a bit more spacious around the ankle, and then just a little bit tighter on the foot. I like that. I like the way it looks. But also, I figured if I do that, that might actually tighten up the sock even more on the foot. And I do like a sock that's a bit more hugging on the foot. And seeing how the cuff turned out and the ankle, I thought that that might be a good idea, because they're still quite loose actually in the way that they fit. So I decided to just roll with it, and I finished the foot part with the, I'm just calling it the ferns, all close together like that. And I'm glad I did. It worked out really good for my foot, and I love the way it looks. So yesterday, on Monday, I cast on the second sock, and I've only done the cuff. I haven't even started on the pattern yet, but I've changed to the main colour, and I'm just doing the setup rows. And here you can really see the beautiful yarn, and oh yeah, I just love, really love this yarn. Once again by Dusty Dimples, which is a brilliant yarn dyer based in the UK. I just really like them. I'm going to make a vlog from the festival. A lot of it is going to be some footage from the sort of market area, and it will be up shortly. It might even be up before this episode is up. We'll see. But I thought that I would show you the purchases that I did make, because there are a few of them. I'm just going to start, jump right into it. One of my favourite Norwegian yarn dyers, or yarn dyers altogether, but she happens to be Norwegian, is this lovely lady right here, Strikkeline. Her website is strikkeline.com, and I will link to it in the show notes. Now, she is an incredibly kind and just lovely person. Fun fact, she's actually the makeup artist that did my makeup for my wedding day. Yeah, she's incredible and so talented. And she brought with her some kind of really luscious yarn, and I could not resist. So this is her alpaca cashmere base, and it's 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. It is the softest thing. It's incredible. I've been keeping it in my living room, in my little knitting nook, so that I can just squeeze it a little bit. So I got 2 of these in this incredible dusty rose colour. It's like a light fingering. No, sorry, it's basically a lace weight. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put these 2 probably together and pair them with this. Oh, it's hard to describe this colour. It comes across as very gold, and in a way it really is, but it's kind of like a green gold. It's very, very, very cool. And I think that it's just absolutely gorgeous together with that dusty baby pink colour. So these, I've got 2 of these, and this is a fingering weight. So 2 of these held together is going to be pretty close to 1 of these. So what I'm doing with this is definitely a shawl. I'm not entirely sure which one, but I do want them to be a shawl. I think that it's just going to be lovely. And this yarn is on her alpaca silk base, which is 70% alpaca and 30% silk. So it's, you know, it's incredibly soft and it's going to feel incredible to wear close to the skin. I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over again. Everything's incredible, but these really are, and this is probably the purchase that I'm most excited about. Yeah, so some luxurious pieces there, and Carolina, here's the yarn dyer, she gifted me these beautiful, beautiful autumnal berry coloured mini skeins, and yeah, I cannot wait to put these to good use, probably as contrasting colours for socks, most likely, but thank you so much, Caroline, I love them. From the yarn dyer Non, I picked up 2 skeins of this yarn because it spoke to me quite strongly and I knew that it had to follow me home. This is a merino silk yak base, so it's also very, very soft. I've gone a bit overboard with the super soft luscious yarn this weekend, but yeah, I'm not going to defend it. I deserve it. Okay, so this is a 65% superwash merino, 20% silk, 15% yak, and it is very soft and it feels quite plump actually, so I'm very, very, very interested to see how that knits up. I picked up 2 skeins of that one together with 1 skein of this one, and they definitely need to live together. Now I can see that this looks a lot like the colours in my Flying Foxtails shawl, but it's not really, because this one is a lot more green and this one is a lot more rust. So that's clearly a huge difference. And this is the same base as these two. So yeah, I'm thinking shawl, not 100% sure on the actual pattern, but I'm thinking a shawl. Lovely Helene of Fable Knitwear. I picked up a few skeins on her Bonnie blue-faced Leicester base. So this is a fingering weight base and 100% blue-faced Leicester. So I picked up this, which is called Wizard's Robe. I just had to have it. I'm just going to show you the Bmanderine quickly because I think it's quite beautiful. Yeah, so this is a Fable knitwear, and yeah, this base, this colorway is called Wizard's Robe, which is, yeah, it's perfect. So I got 2 of these and 2 of these. And this one is just as beautifully named. It's called Fleur. I know that this sounds like gibberish if you're not a Harry Potter fan, but if you are, you will get all the lovely references, and yeah, I love them. And this, I do know what it's going to be. I'm knitting one of the shawls out of the new Stephen West book, Westknits Best Knits 3 Shawl Evolution, and I'm knitting I think the pattern for the shawl is fern, or that might just be fibres all over. That might just be because I called the pattern on the socks fern. Well, it's a brioche shawl and it's beautiful, and it will be beautiful in these colours. So that's the plan. That's the plan with these. And I got this on the Saturday, and on the Sunday I came across 2 more from her that I had to have. So one of them is another of this sort of caramel colour, and it's called Syrup, also by Fable Knitwear. And also on her 100% superwash blue-faced Leicester wool base. It's a fingering weight. And the second one, it's on her Athena base, which is her 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% gold stellina base. And isn't that just the prettiest colour? I absolutely adore this colour. And the stellina, you know, it's just so perfect. And this one, I just have 1 skein of each. This one is most definitely going to become a pair of socks. I'm not sure on the pattern, but I think I'm going to design something out of this because it's just so perfect. It needs to be something very special indeed. And oops. The other one, I'm not sure what it will be, but it's just, it's such a great colour. Now this festival, I really wanted to look for some decent tonals, and I feel like I have done quite well, because literally, let me see if I can pick these up, literally all the yarn that I bought, here we go, whew, they're all tonals, they're all beautiful tonals, and that's exactly what I needed in my life, because I am very impulsive when it comes to beautiful, special one-of-a-kind sock yarn with, you know, the speckles and all the beautiful things, and that's great, and I love those skeins. But what I needed was more of the tonals for like fun colourwork sweaters and shawls with a lot of patterns or brioche or things like that. So all in all, I'm very happy with my yarn haul. I picked up a few other little things as well. Firstly, the little project bag that I've already shown you, and some adorable little stitch markers from Stresse, who has donated stitch markers for the giveaway that you can find in the previous episode. Remember to join in. And yeah, there's these little cute tassels, and I mean, look at those tassels, how cute are they? Love them. Yeah, not that easy to see because they're all a little cramped together, but you can see that they are beautiful and the colours are pretty. And yeah, really excited about those. I picked up a few other tiny pieces from Strikkefestival, and what I got was a couple of her wooden stitch markers. I got a few of these last year and I've used them quite a bit, so I thought, hey, I'm going to get a few more. So we have, I picked up these maple leaves. Let's see, there we go. And, or maybe they're not maple, come to think of it, they don't really look like maple. Some sort of leaf. And they are wood and lightweight and just very cute, so I wanted those. And I also picked up one of her gauge measurers, which is this little beehive, and I thought it was just the cutest thing. And it's also wood, and then on the back you have the numbers, and yeah, so I got that. The last thing that I picked up is a book. It's a pretty much, well, it's called Loom, and it's well, it says knitting and crochet for mummy and baby, and I love children's knit books and baby knitting books because I think that especially the Nordic Scandinavian ones, because their photography is usually quite amazing and just the mood in the books are just so adorable. Just look at this, for instance. How cute. How beautiful are these photos. And yeah, I just had one of the days I had a quick I looked through it quite briefly, and it didn't really hit me. I thought it was cute and everything, but just, yeah, there was one sort of there was one of the hats that I thought was very cute, but also, like, you know, people have done that sort of thing before. It's not really, yeah, that exciting. But I looked at it again the second day, or on the Sunday I think, and I realised that, hey, I need to look at this more closely because there are a few very cute projects in here that would be just lovely gifts. So this is just very cute for gift knitting. One of my favourite is this little bib right here. I do just, let me see, there we go, love the shape of it. I think it is very cute. And there are a few ones that are very cute. Some baby socks and slippers and things like that. Some cute little bloomers. A very beautiful little hat. And this is my favourite, this little teddy bear hat, which is probably the cutest teddy bear hat that I have ever seen. Yeah, also some crocheted little monsters or bugs that I think would make the cutest. Look at those. I think that these would be just the cutest little baby mobile. Yeah. Very, very lovely book. It's the only book that I purchased, and there's a reason for that. I thought it was just irresistible, and it's been a while since I've done a lot of baby and children's knitting, but I've always found that to be quite nice, just to break up some of the larger projects and knit on something that doesn't take that long, and it's just very sort of instant gratification. And yeah, and like I said, I do enjoy a very beautiful put together book, and I thought that that one was particularly beautiful, so I felt like it had to follow me home. Alright, I think yeah, that was it. Those were all the purchases. I think that's it for this week. Yeah, pretty much. And I hope you will have a lovely week and get a lot of knitting done, and be kind to yourself and to everyone around you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Goodbye.